And we are live, ladies and gentlemen, on Thursday night. We have the TNA Slammiversary, this is the FTW podcast, Wrestling World, now it's laughable glory. I am Harrison, and with me as always is Rob. Say hello, Rob.
You give them a week off, and this is what happens.
Yeah, this is what happens. Although I even worked on my week off. I was on the show for a little bit.
That is true, and you get credit for calling it.
Thank you. And we got Lee from WrestlingNewsSource.com. Say hello, Lee.
Hello.
And Garvin is manning the board. You can be on the mic tonight, Garvin? I forgot to ask.
Yes, I am.
Awesome sauce. Tonight is it. It is the TNA Slammiversary 2012 pay-per-view special coming to you live on June 7, 2012. And if you're new to the show, check out FTWpodcast.com for more about us and how to get involved. You can reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, voicemail, text message, email, carrier pigeon, and smoke signals. For those of you guys listening live, we're going to bring in your comments throughout the show. It's going to be fantastic. The hive mind is on and ready to rock. Tonight's live chat can be found at FTWlive.com. You can also email us questions at FTWpodcast.com. And if you're on Twitter, use hashtag FTWLive. So for those of you not listening at home, sit back and relax. This should be totally awesome. But before we dive into Slammiversary 2 Deep, let's face it, Impact just happened. It was the go-home show. We were talking about in the pre-show. It was kind of blasé, I guess is the best way to. It wasn't the best go-home show that TNA has done. I don't want to get into it too much because we're going to be discussing it probably a lot on Tuesday. But the big thing that I do want to discuss, especially with Lee, is the Joey Ryan situation. For those guys who don't know, he was one of the gut check guys brought on last week, got kicked, booted from the show, went on Twitter and YouTube. Garvin shared a couple of those videos to me. The only thing I'm going to say is the guy, Joey Ryan, doesn't seem like, I know everyone's saying it's a work, but to me, it just feels like he's just auditioning for Ring of Honor. But anyway, Lee, your opinion on the Joey Ryan thing. Take it away.
Yeah, Joey Ryan, last week we all saw Taz confront Joey Ryan, and, everyone's kind of wondering, is it a work? Is it real? I thought personally it was real. But then Joey Ryan brought out this YouTube video, cut an essential promo, and pretty much screwed TNA over. He really, really went to town on TNA. But then tonight, TNA have addressed Joey Ryan, and they've pretty much head on. Taz said, Joey Ryan, you've got to come back. You can't just do it on YouTube. You can't talk crap on YouTube. You've got to actually come and prove that you're worth it. But if TNA have brought it up, you've got to think it's a work. You've got to think TNA have got a contract for Joey Ryan somehow. They would not bring, it's almost like, though, that if you lose the gut check, it's more important than winning, because where's the first week, where's the winner gone? We've heard more about Joey Ryan than we have for the first winner.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, and that's part of that's one thing that I really worry about when it comes to the gut check segment is that, you and I argued about it a lot on Twitter on Thursday, and short of calling you a limey bastard, I love the fact that it's not a work, that it's showing behind the curtain. But man, I gotta be honest, it's starting to feel like you're right. And I would rather,
Thank you.
Not just the fact that you're right, but the fact that you're right about this. It's like, damn it. So you got the double trouble of you being right and now gut check is a work. Rob, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I was after the initial confrontation segment with Joey Ryan and Taz. I was more of, this is probably real. I could see where Joey Ryan lost his cool and Taz lost his cool, but typically with a professional wrestling company, if you lose a contract and you go on and bitch about YouTube, 9 times out of 10, a major wrestling company is just going to ignore you. When they actually addressed not just the YouTube video, but then showed their own video of like the backstage thing of him getting into the argument with Al Snow and Al Snow throwing him out, and then it cuts back to Taz, and Tanae's like, okay, Taz, what are your thoughts? And Tanae's just like, hashtag make you famous.
All right, that's fair. Lee, what do you think?
It's I don't know. It's got to be a work as far as I'm concerned. The fact that they brought it up, unless they're just probing Joey Ryan to come up and come back. I don't really see how TNA benefit unless they've signed him to a contract. I don't get it, how they would benefit from it.
That's a fair point. Let's take a step back here. The only facts we have are the gut check segment and Joey Ryan basically won by, he had an 80% of the vote. It was
87.
87% of the vote. Massive. I mean, he won that. Yeah, he won that thing with a cannonball. So the question is, could it have been he won? TNA, whatever happens in the ring, it got heated. Taz maybe made a mistake, and now this is TNA's way of trying to get him back in some capacity. So it isn't a work. It's just TNA trying to get him back, and they're mismanaging this. The only thing, regardless of what scenario you look at with this Joey Ryan thing, he looks good, TNA looks bad. And I can't think of a single scenario coming out of this where that is not the case.
I'll slightly disagree with you on that. I mean, Joey Ryan, by bitching and moaning and taking shots at TNA and everything, I don't see where he looks good in all of this. I mean,
TNA still wants him. Despite that, TNA is still courting him. So you could look at it as like, well, yeah, he's bitching and moaning, but obviously...
Assuming TNA is still courting him and not just saying, okay, this is... He's made a big fuss on the internet. A lot of our fans wanted to know, wanted him in our company. We're going to address it once and say, he's a baby, he's a crybaby, sore loser, and now we're not going to ignore it anymore. If TNA goes that route, they could still kind of make it work. And Joey Ryan, he had a great match performance, but as we've talked about on a couple of our shows, he did a lot of things wrong too.
Yeah, and to be completely fair, I mean, the video that they did show was from last week, so it's not that they're, bringing new stuff in. It's just
right.
They have to respond to it in some fashion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if not respond, just follow up. This is a reminder of what happened last week.
Yeah. This is a reminder of why we sent him home.
Okay, that's fair. And Lee, what do you think? I mean, do you see a scenario? I mean, do you see Impact looking good out of this? Joey Ryan looking good out of this?
Unless TNA have directed Joey Ryan to say, Impact, he's crap, TNA Impact screwed me over, to get an angle going with, against TNA and to bring him back, versus, whatever, versus Hulk Hogan or whatever they want to do. Unless they bring him back versus the actual company itself, and then they get, people get interested, this guy's versing TNA, or what the hell's going on? Unless that angle's going, I don't really see how they can, look good.
So, okay, final thoughts from everybody, and then we'll just move on, or else this will be the Joey Ryan hour. My point is, to me, if TNA really wanted to, they could just not address it. WWE doesn't do that. No real large company, when they're in a situation like this, the best thing to do is just not address it. Just be like, next week, it's like Joey Ryan didn't exist. No segments, no nothing. Every time they talk about Gut Check, when they released the Gut Check DVD, he's not on it. I could think of one name that WWE is basically whitewashed from their records, that TNA could get rid of this guy no problem. And then Joey Ryan then just does look like a crybaby, railing against the walls of TNA, going, "Why don't you give me a job?" And they just ignore him. The fact that they're addressing him at his level, to me, just makes them look bad. But that's my thought. Final thoughts on this, Rob?
I see where you're coming from, but I'm going to stick with what I said. I can see where TNA's like, okay, we're going to release the video from last week where you were such a dick, we had to throw you out of the stadium. We're going to remind our fan base that, you blew this shot. We didn't screw you over. You blew it. Come back after you've been on the road for a little while, take another shot, and, maybe we'll let you in after you've matured a little bit, after you've improved your skills a little bit.
Okay. Lee, final thoughts?
Yeah, I think they'll try and bring Joey Ryan back. Just because of that, I think it's that 87% that gets me every time. The fact that TNA have ignored 87%, it doesn't make sense. So I think, personally, they're addressing him directly. He'll eventually come back, and in maybe a different capacity, but they'll carry on the Taz not feud, but they'll carry on that business. I think they'll bring him back, but it could take time.
Oh yeah, I think he'll get a contract with TNA somewhere down the road. Like you said, Lee, 87% is just too high a percentage of your fan base to ignore. But I'm not sure that this is that they're going to do it like right away. I think it might be. I
don't imagine they'll do it right away. No, I agree.
Okay. Gar, what are your final thoughts?
Yeah, just to go back to what is being talked about in the live chat. Someone mentioned that losers win more than winners, and you could say the same thing about like Tough Enough. You could say the same thing about American Idol. The people who get picked aren't always the ones that are the best. So they seem to be more like projects, and are rarely successful. So you look at people who didn't win Tough Enough, they do better overall than the guys who do win Tough Enough. So this could be the same type of situation where we see a guy like Joey Ryan get looked over or passed over and be a lot more successful. And I think they are realizing it sooner than most people do.
Okay, that's fair.
It's that 87% though that does it every time. It's like, is it really a chance to ignore that?
From my point of view, if TNA didn't acknowledge Joey Ryan within a month, no one would be talking about him anymore. At least in the TNA universe. So 87%, I mean, that's 87% 1 week. If TNA just ignores him and moves on within a month, it's like he never existed. All right, so TNA Slammiversary is in a few days. We can just run down the card real quick. So far, it looks like a pretty solid show. They've booked a lot of matches, a lot of strange matches, like Lee Garvin and I were discussing in the pre-show. But first thing we're going to talk about, the one that's been building for a while now, Bully Ray versus Joseph Park. Thoughts on this match, and are we going to see Abyss? And I said it on the show, and I want to say it again. How swerve of the year if Joseph Park and Abyss are actually two different people.
Yeah, if Joseph Park and Abyss are two different people, that's
huge.
Yeah, that's epic level swerve right there.
Yeah, like they just both walk out, and everyone. I mean, I could see the entire crowd just going completely silent, going, "Holy crap, they did
it!" There's two of them. How the hell?
I gotta be honest. I mean, I would hope that if we saw that, the entire IWC would stand as one and just slow clap that. Yeah, just slow clap that sucker. Just going, you know what? Doff my cap to you, good sir. That was a good one.
You have given us Rob Terry, but that was brilliant.
Well, what do you guys think about the match? I mean, it's obviously not going to be a real match. I mean, we're going to have to see Abyss at some point in this. I'm just going to say my thoughts. What I said on the show when I called in on Tuesday, I think this story lately has been actually really compelling. TNA has done a really good job of telling the story of Bully Ray bringing the monster out of Joseph Park, and I like where it's going. And I really only see positives for this. I don't think this is going to be a real match. I think it's going to be like a segment match, where it's going to be slapping around a little bit. Joseph Park turns into Abyss. Regardless, it's going to be fun to watch, is my point. And I like that. I mean, what do you think, Lee?
I'd absolutely agree. I think it's TNA's best story going at the minute. I imagine Joseph Park will eventually not turn into Abyss, but go back, and then Abyss magically comes out, and
goes into a phone booth.
Yeah. But I still see Bully Ray winning, though. I still see Bully Ray going over because he's the best, heel they've got in TNA. I imagine they'll still keep pushing him over Joseph Park because they can keep this story going for another 2-3 months, and they can get more out of this. And it doesn't matter who wins. It just as long as they get like a finish that kind of matches the feud, it won't really matter.
Yeah, as long as it moves the story. I mean, what do you think, Rob? I mean, is this one only upside for TNA?
Yes, I think TNA would have to physically try to screw this up. They've got a good storyline going right now. I'm not going to go right with the phone booth analogy. I could see Joseph Park getting beaten down, like injured. Maybe they carry him off backstage, and then Abyss magically comes out. I think. I mean, they had the taped segment from Abyss earlier tonight where they said where Abyss said as much that he was coming to Slammiversary. So this match would be the logical point that you bring him in.
Yeah. What do you think, Garf?
Well, I wouldn't say it's the only upside of TNA right now, but yeah, definitely. I find this a lot more interesting. Um,
Oh no, no. My
than
my point was that this match, no matter what, it's upside.
sure, yeah,
Assuming Hogan doesn't run in and take out Bolts with a chair. I mean, as long as they don't, as long as like Rob said, they don't try to screw it up. This is just coming up aces for him.
right. Regardless of who wins, I think that they're going to be in a good position to continue to tell the story.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and just looking at how this started, it's just started so slowly, but it really feels like they are really turning the corner. And are we close to a payoff? Maybe. I wouldn't say that this is going to be the payoff, but this is a good step for it.
And even if it is the pay, I mean, if they actually come out with a dolly with the phone booth and they set it next to the announce table, for me, I honestly I can't say this for a lot of things. I mean, especially because of how we work. But regardless of what happens in this match, I know I'm going to be entertained and satisfied. Like I can't imagine they screw this up. And looking into it, I'm really, I mean, proud of TNA for assembling that thing. I mean, Chad's exactly right. It's an amazing story that's been executed perfectly, and it has. I can't think of a single misstep going into this. And if you want to see great storytelling in pro wrestling, independent of like Triple H versus Taker, icons, history, just a really good story being told in the ring. This is probably a textbook example of modern day.
And
I think it's I think the two
sorry,
guys
Lee,
have
go ahead.
sorry. I think it's like the two guys have actually, they're both perfect for their role. Bully Ray is such a good heel for TNA. He's so good at what he does. He convinces everybody that he's this, hard ass. He's gonna, he can and do what he says. And Joseph Park, probably, I would say about half the TNA audience know he's a biz, but they're so engaged in the storyline that they want to see it go forward.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of what happens, it's still going to be good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Chad's saying, great story. I hope Bully Ray gets the thumbtacks. That'd be pretty good. And another one from the chat. After this is all said and done, I want to see Bully going after the title. And I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that. Get Bully Ray in the main event, maybe up against someone like Sting.
I was going to say that needs like a face to go against Bully Ray, but
Well,
I don't know. Bully Ray and Bobby Roode, even though they're both heels, they've had some great matches against each other, and the way Bully Ray structured his character, you can send him up against another heel with not much problems.
You could do. I don't think though it would gel well as a story, just because the way Bully Ray is like tearing down Joseph Park.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. I think that comes down to Slammiversary. See what happens if Sting wins. Then maybe that's the way they go in Bully Ray. But
okay. Next up is Crimson had his open challenge. Here we go. We're gonna run down the list of predictions. Diva Jill mentioned Matt Morgan. Mr. Lucha Libre on Twitter tweeted us Return of the Pope, which would be pretty huge. Debut of John Morrison. Joey Ryan comes back. Maybe Zima Ion returns. But the big one for me, the one, if I had to say, if TNA really wants Slammiversary 10 to be a turning point for him, Goldberg. Goldberg comes back and defeats Crimson. I know the comparisons are there. Everyone still chants Goldberg when Crimson comes out. But if you want to have that kind of like Royal Rumble moment where it's like, holy shit, Diesel's back. Goldberg coming back and defeating Crimson on Slammiversary, that's definitely DVD buying quality material right there. And TNA needs those kind of moments. And because they're so young, they won't have many of them. But, I mean, come on. Goldberg versus Crimson. Tell me, I know, long shot of all long shots. What part of you won't mark out when you hear Goldberg's music, if that happens?
I wouldn't. Personally, I think Goldberg fits in the other company's storyline better than this one. The one that I think would be a turning point is John Morrison, though. I think that's the more compelling one if he does make that jump.
What do you guys think? bigger draw, Goldberg or Morrison?
I think probably John Morrison, just because Goldberg's like had his time. But the fact that they referenced Goldberg on TNA was strange, really strange.
Crimson name dropping Goldberg was definitely out of the ordinary.
It was odd.
I would have to say Morrison would be the bigger draw because, like Lee said, Goldberg's had his time. He's done. I really don't have any desire to see him in a ring. And John Morrison can entertain a crowd in so many different ways. He's got a lot of upsides.
Except on the mic.
Well, yeah, except on the mic. But Goldberg has no mic skills either. Who's next? Oh, wow.
Hey, the other thing, Chap brought it up, is the other problem with Goldberg, is the reason why they don't see it being Goldberg is that TNA would have to market the shit out of it to get their money's worth. They would have to sell a lot of Goldberg t-shirts because he's going to want a big paycheck for it. So, aside from John Morrison and Goldberg, what about Pope, Matt Morgan, Joey Ryan possibly comes back? I mean, other than Morrison and Goldberg, is there anybody else on here that gets you excited? I mean, Matt Morgan would be kind of cool.
Matt Morgan
Crimson,
because of the
history.
feud they've had.
Yeah.
Matt Morgan would be cool.
I mean, what do you think, Lee?
I think Matt Morgan is pretty much he's the only one who can really, tease the whole angle as such. I think Matt Morgan. It's either Matt Morgan. The thing is, though, I can't really see John Morrison coming back because I know he's booked for quite a few indie dates, but I can't see him joining TNA. I just can't see it.
So that was that. Yeah, that's. I'm with you on that. Just something in the back of my head says that he just wouldn't jump to TNA.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, exactly. It's just something about it. It just doesn't seem like he'd be a good fit. Either TNA's not interested in him, or he's not interested in TNA. But it'd probably be very clear that one of them doesn't want the other, and that's the only thing I can think. So Crimson versus X, whoever it's going to be. Are we going to see yet another Crimson win? Do you see him losing, depending on who it is?
Because it's Slammiversary, I would be tempted to say he could lose, but at the same time, it's not been built up and it's not been advertised, so it's, I think Crimson, thinking about it now, Crimson probably will retain. I mean,
okay. If it's Matt Morgan, because of what we just talked about with Goldberg, with TNA needing those, company-defining moments. If it's Matt Morgan, because with Matt Morgan you have a ready-made feud that you don't have to build up too much. I could see Matt Morgan coming out and ending the streak.
Okay. All right, that's fair. Devon and Garrett Bischoff versus Robbie E and Robbie T. Anybody really think Robbie E and Robbie T are going to come over on this one?
Nope.
Garvin does. Garvin, why do you really think Robbie E and T are going to win this one?
Well, that's what I said on Tuesday.
With their little matching sweaters and everything.
I don't understand. Well, first of all, I would wear that sweater that they wore tonight.
Okay.
That is a bad comment to make.
Hey, it's a brave comment to make.
That's the one, yeah.
All right, but I can see them winning, mainly because I find it difficult that they keep pushing them into this title race and have them continue to lose. I mean, they've got to be going somewhere with it. I just don't see another loss unless they're going to break up Robbie E and Robbie T. And this doesn't seem the right moment for it. Okay, that's fair.
The other match that this is one that Lee and I were talking about this for a while. Getting the show, they booked it on Impact tonight. Hogan booked it. RVD versus Jeff Anderson versus RVD versus Jeff Hardy versus Anderson. The winner faces the World Heavyweight Champion at next week's Impact. Now, the thing that Lee and I were discussing about this in the pre-show is it's weird to think that TNA is going to ask you to spend $45 to watch a World Heavyweight Championship match when it could change hands 5 days later.
It's odd, but at the same time, it could. I don't know if that's incentive just to watch like the people involved, like Jeff Hardy, obviously massive fan base, you presume. Mr. Anderson, yeah. It's just, would it be tempting? I don't think it's worth it. But it again goes back to the point that, you were talking about here a few weeks ago. Are they more focused on TV ratings than they are PPV, views, buys, whatever they want to call it?
No, it's a good. I mean, yeah, that's the crux of the matter. I mean, it seems like when you look at this is just another notch in the they don't care about pay-per-views segment. But at the same time, Bully Ray versus Joseph Park, Crimson has his open challenge. I mean, there's still a lot on. I mean, there's still a lot on this card that could happen that makes Slammiversary worth the buy.
It's just an odd match.
That's exactly it. It's an odd match. I mean, what do you think, Rob?
Yeah, this is another thing that kind of worries me. I mean, when you come out and say, well, no matter who wins the world title, Thursday it's going to be defended again, you're pretty much telegraphing to me that Rude's going to retain, which, as we talked about, is a good idea given the fact that, Sting's getting up there in years, and unless Sting is about ready to get his, and unless Sting is really about ready to retire, it doesn't make sense to give him a world title reign just yet.
Yeah, the other thing is, this is basically the who's who of who you don't want to see in the title race.
Yeah, well, I want to see Mr. Anderson in the title race. Screw
you're
you
weird. Because I don't want to see RVD. Garvin definitely doesn't want to see.
I don't want to see RVD or Jeff Hardy.
Because if Jeff Hardy wins,
Anderson, I think, can still make a viable world title participant. I'm not saying he has to win the title. I'm saying I don't have a problem with him being in the race.
But has Anderson, has he's kind of gone through the process? Is he just kind of another name, similar? Is he just another mid-card character now?
Another Christian, basically.
Yeah.
I guess I can't really argue that point. I mean, he has kind of run his course, but his character still gets the reaction TNA wants. He's still, he's still doing everything right on the microphone. He's got a lot of gifts that he can bring, especially to some of the younger wrestlers in TNA. So if they want to push him to the main event every once in a while, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, that's fair. The only question is, though, if Jeff Hardy wins and wins the title, I mean, they're going to bring his belt back.
Oh, dear God.
That's going to happen. So, we run into that. Basically, that's what the chat brought up. The other thing they're saying is Anderson should get a good push. They like Anderson, but the mix-up they're tired of. Basically, these three guys constantly around each other: RVD, Jeff Hardy, Mr. Anderson, and the Anderson RVD botches too much. That's fair. I mean, they do botch a lot.
Most of Anderson's botches, as of recently, have come when he's in matches with Jeff Hardy.
Oh, you apologist.
Jeff Hardy botches. You can make the argument that Jeff Hardy is botching at least as much, if not more, than Anderson is. And he might be causing some of Anderson's botches. So
Anderson is the best of three evils.
Don't.
Yes,
I'm with Lee on this one.
If I had to pick one out of the, if I had to pick one of those three guys to put in the world title race, I would put in Anderson because he's the best out of those three. I'm not saying he's technically sound. I'm not saying he's the best wrestler, period. I'm saying if my choices are RVD, Jeff Hardy, and Mr. Anderson, I'm going to pick Mr. Anderson.
I just love watching you dance trying to sell Mr. Anderson to us. I mean, most of his flaws are because of Jeff Hardy. And when he missed the microphone in the segment earlier today, it was obvious he was just messing with the fans. I mean, come on. You can't really think that he's really, made a mistake, can you? Is he from Chicago, too? Is that what I'm not missing?
No, he's from Green Bay. I should hate this.
Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's the same.
I know. All right. So obviously, for Rob, Mr. Anderson's I just don't want to see this match. I just don't want to. I'm with the chat. I'm tired of these three. I want TNA to focus on younger talent. I'm just tired of these three guys.
I think that's the best point that they've made. The chat, it is the young guys need to be. Oh, sorry.
No. No. All right, go on, Rob.
We can all agree on that. I'm saying that if you have to pick from the three guys that's being offered, who would you pick, Harrison?
The ref. No,
The ref.
if I had to, I honestly, I'd rather it be RVD only to watch him lose against the title again. Just because every time RVD gets a push to the main event, Twitter goes alive with all these shitty-ass 420 references, so to watch him lose, it's just schadenfreude to me.
I completely agree with that. Out of the three, I would have to go with RVD too, just because I hate him the least.
I think
okay.
It's not that I hate him. I hate his fans the most.
RVD can deliver the best matches.
Sometimes.
You think RVD still has a few more good matches left in him?
As long as it's not ladder related.
Yes, they're not ladder related. Yes.
If you look at the three they've done, Hardy, as we've already said, has made botches. With Anderson galore. Anderson, he's all right in the ring. He's not the best in the world. I'm not gonna lie. RVD, at least he delivered us. At least he can wrestle. At least his name will draw rather than.
He's able to do the job that's asked of him.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. but we're choosing between three guys that no one wants to see in the main event.
It's like we're choosing. No, seriously, what's happening now is we are stuck. We're going hunting. We got a dog we got a dog that's 50 years old. Another dog that has wheels for the back legs. And another dog that is just
disabled.
High all the time. I mean, it's on like heavy medication. And we just look at the old dog and we say, look, it's able to go out there and get the duck. I'm going with the old dog. That is my point. I mean, that's basically where we stand. Is just RVD is able to go out. A bell has rung. He performs. The bell rings again, and things have happened. It's just. We're happy with that. Our standards are so goddamn low. I love it so much. All right, so we got to move on. Knockouts Championship: Gail Kim versus Brooke Tessmacher. Lee, you were on last time. We talked about how Brooke wasn't ready. Do you think she's ready now?
I'm gonna say no and really annoy everybody. It just came out of nowhere again. It just, out of all four, you chose Tessmacher again. But the issue I have is, with Gail Kim, they said, if you watch on ImpactWrestling.com, they said, Gail Kim, no, I'll beat her easily. And that kind of sets up, Tessmacher's going to win, which I'm a bit scared of. I just don't think she's ready. I honestly don't. I think out of all four you could have chosen, I think she's probably the worst.
Okay. What do you think, Rob?
As much as I'm rooting for her to win because that's more points for my draft team, I find myself having to agree with Lee on this one. I like Tessmacher, but I think she needs a little bit more work. If I had to pick one of those four women to give a push to, Harrison, you know where I'm at on this. I would push Velvet. I would push Velvet like there's no tomorrow.
And I would agree with that.
I actually will disagree. Velvet Sky... lately, and I mean lately, like the past month and a half, has
you
not
treacherous
been...
son of a bitch.
No, she has not. She has not been very velvety.
Velvety.
I don't remember getting much airtime either.
Well, that's the other thing. She's only been in really. I want to. Well, that's the other thing. I mean, with the knockouts, we didn't get a segment last week. All we got was Brooke Hogan coming out. The segment before was just kind of, and then we got this basically booking the match. So the past few weeks, we haven't really seen much from the knockouts division. But really, for me. Velvet she just hasn't been as good as she usually is. She's just been kind of, I don't want to say slump, but like the yips. You know what I mean? Kind of when you go out there and you're in your head and just things don't really seem to click. I mean,
okay. Who would you book in the match? Who would you book?
I don't know. I'd say, if only to get Kevin back on the show, Mickie James. I miss Kevin so much.
Well, I was glad to see Mickie James pull out her Mick kick. Finisher. I've always thought that's. I
am really surprised. Finisher. TNA doesn't owe McDonald's royalties for that. The Mick kick. No, I mean seriously, you figured they would have patented that one. They would have gotten that one. But I mean, yeah, I would just say Mickie James only because. Oh, great one from the chat. ODB. Although she's got the tag title, so. But yeah, ODB. I mean, that'd be interesting to see her come out. She scares me though.
At this rate, though, we might as well see Karma back for Christ's sake.
Well, the stipulation is according to who has karma for the draft?
Me?
Yeah, Garvin wants. Well, it doesn't matter if it's WWE or TNA, right?
No.
Because you picked Karma.
Well, at the minute, now what's going on over there? You might as well bring it back here.
So if she shows up for TNA, you still get points.
Sure. Now, as far as this match goes, yeah, I think Velvet was the obvious choice. Just because she still has never received that big rematch that she was supposed to get. They keep teasing that they're going to push her, and then they don't.
And I think that's kind of contributed to what Harrison was talking about, the drop in her performance. We haven't seen her on camera that often, and it's got to weigh on a wrestler's psyche when, you have to go out and it's like, okay, we're going to push you. No, we're not. You're going to put this person over now.
Hey, but at least she's going to be in that music video.
Yeah, after getting knocked the fuck out, she's got to go fly and film a country music video. Nice night for Velvet.
Yeah, what? Okay, now what music video was this?
Montgomery
country music video.
Montgomery Gentry, or I think it was. Brooke Hogan said they're making a country music video. It was a country music video.
Oh, okay. So, all right.
So I guess we will see, and I'm sure TNA will let us know when.
Yeah, probably. Probably do a better job of plugging that than they do their pay-per-views. X Division Championship: Samoa Joe versus Austin Aries. If you told me a month ago this was going to be the X Division Championship match, I would have laughed my ass off.
Wait, hold on. That's not... I'm sorry. That match is not official. That match was booked a week and a half ago, and then they pulled off the site. They finally had the segment backstage. Joe got involved. But this is the match that we think is going to happen.
Yeah, that's right. We actually talked about this on Tuesday. Yeah, this was booked, and then it was taken off. And we talked about Samoa Joe basically being removed, and the fact that, once again, TNA has been, mum about it, which really worries me, because it's like, well, then Samoa Joe's gone. Like, if they haven't come out and done anything storyline-wise, except for this one thing where Joe was the one who tweeted saying, I've been kicked out, and then that's it. So, I gotta be honest, if we don't see Samoa Joe here on Sunday, I don't think we're gonna see him again. Because he did something bad.
Well,
no.
Well,
he was in the backstage segment, but if you go to Slammiversary.com, it's not there. But if you go to the most recent post on Impact, they are advertising that match: Samoa Joe versus Austin Aries.
Okay, so whatever happens with this match, what do you guys think?
I think Austin Aries is going to retain simply because TNA doesn't want to push Samoa Joe for some reason. I'd like to see Samoa Joe win so that Austin Aries could step up into the main event picture, but I don't know if TNA is going to make that jump.
What do you think, Lee?
Yeah, I tend to agree with the whole removing of it off the website, and then Austin Aries obviously in. I said last time on the show that he was going to go nowhere, and clearly I've been very right because he's gone miles. I think Austin Aries will retain. I'm just checking out the Slammiversary website to see if it's on there, but no, still they've not updated it. So
yeah, it's only on the ImpactWrestling.com latest news piece. Also to note, this graphic is not showing that it's for the title, so it's possible that this won't actually be a title match. And I'm not seeing anything else listed on the site to suggest it is a title match. Also, the live chat is talking about the weight limit. There was a weight limit added to the X Division again, and Joe is obviously over that.
That's right.
What a mess. All right, well, let's just move on from this morass, or else we'll spend way too much time on it. World Tag Team Championship. Daniels and Kazarian. We saw a preview of it for the main event on Impact versus AJ Styles and Kurt Angle. I mean, what do you guys think? To me, this is really the storyline of Kaz and Daniels versus AJ Styles. And hey, look, we found something for Kurt Angle to do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I'm not a big fan of this AJ Styles, Daniels story. Okay, well, going out of this, I mean, regardless of who wins, where do you see the story going between Styles, Daniels, Kaz, and possibly Kurt Angle being tossed into the mix? I mean, where do you think it's going to go, Lee?
It'll be focused on Dixie Carter. Dixie will... she'll the whole. I'm not going to go too much into Impact this week, but the whole Dixie's husband coming out and punching AJ and such, getting straight back up. They're going to follow up from that obviously next week, but I don't see Daniels and Kaz winning. I do see Daniels and Kaz winning. I don't see AJ winning at the pay-per-view. I reckon they'll keep this going for probably until at least the next pay-per-view, just to build up a match between probably AJ's and Daniels.
Okay. Rob, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Lee hit the nail right on the head. I mean, the next logical progression for the story to focus on, based on what we saw tonight, is to focus more on Dixie Carter. They probably have a few pieces of AJ coming out. AJ trying to mend and tend to his family, but I think the focus is going to be mostly on Dixie Carter, and it'll build towards a final match between Daniels and AJ Styles.
Okay. Now the chat's basically saying that Kaz and Daniels are going to retain because they don't need to drop the belts to keep the story going. Does anybody else find it interesting that we basically look at this storyline here, and we're all the entire time it's been going on, we're all very confused and bewildered, and just it's been very kind of like non-starter. Then when you contrast that with Bully Ray and Joseph Park, you really get to see the dichotomy that TNA is in, where they have a very good, clear example of good storytelling and then of bad storytelling. Do you agree with me on that, or do you think that I'm just kind of shitting on this AJ storyline way too much?
I think they're trying different ways of doing things, but I'd definitely agree that the AJ Dixie thing is not great, to say the least. But the way they continued it this week was crap, to be completely honest. Last week was great. I liked the ending last week, but Bully Ray and Josie Parker is the way forward. I tend to agree with you, to be quite honest.
Okay, Rob, you gonna feed my ego too, or no?
Yeah. I mean, the storyline. I think you're pretty much right. Bully Ray and Joseph Park are definitely the better storyline going at the moment. I don't know. I can't really explain why the AJ Dixie storyline is stuck in the mug. I mean, I personally don't like it because on one hand you're making Dixie Carter look weak again, not too long after she had the storyline with Immortal, and you're making AJ Styles, who is a future TNA Hall of Famer. Let's face it. I think he's still the only Grand Slam champion they have. You're making him look incredibly bad as well.
Yeah, the chat's saying that they think I'm shitting on the storyline and that we're supposed to still be confused by it. But it's been a few weeks, and you gotta have that clarifying thing of that it's very clear. I don't mind being confused if I can tell that we're going forward with it. I mean, that's basically, like Lost. I mean, Lost was confusing every episode, but you knew that they were going towards something. Little did we know they actually weren't. But when you look at the storyline, I'm confused because, like Rob said, AJ was Grand Slam champion. He's probably the greatest TNA talent, in the history of the company so far. And then now they're going to take all of that and bundle it into but he slept his way to the top. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. I mean, it's almost like when Pete Rose came out and said, well, yeah, I'm doing all this thing, so now I'm not going to be in the Hall of Fame. It's like, well, why the hell would you do that? I mean, it's just like, it's just weird. It's just a weird thing to me that I'm just like, I don't know. And just a few weeks going in, you really expect them to do something with it. Chat's bringing up that Abyss was also Grand Slam champ and Kurt Angle, but I don't think that's right. Is that right?
Is Kurt Angle?
I don't think that's right.
I don't think Kurt Angle is. Abyss might have been. Because he did get the X Division. Abyss might be because he did eventually have the X Division.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle has never held the X Division title as far as I'm aware.
Okay. Regardless, I mean, that's my standpoint. All right, so we Garvin just found this on ImpactWrestling.com, another match that was added to the card, and it's weird, so I'm just going to come out with it. Kid Cash versus Hernandez.
What?
That's ImpactWrestling.com. Garvin grabbed it from there. It's on the card preliminarily. Keep in mind, Samoa Joe and Austin Aries is, but it's not on the other thing, so who knows. Kid Cash versus Hernandez. So...
Baffled.
There you are.
Yeah.
Hey, look, all I'm doing, guys, look, I'm just telling you, the dog came over with the dead squirrel. I'm just laying it at your feet and going, here. What do you want to do about it?
It's like an
beat
episode.
me, beat me.
God.
Yeah,
If you're asking me to pick a winner, probably Hernandez. I don't know.
Okay, we can go with that. I mean, we'll go through the predictions in a minute, but so Kid Cash versus Hernandez potentially, probably on Sunday. You're $45, folks. There it is.
I tell you what, I won't go onto it, but TNA have really got to start updating their website quicker. Like WWE, I'm not going to compare them to WWE, but they're straight on it. TNA have still got the 4 matches that were booked from last week on, and it's 50 minutes after the show. They've got to update it quicker.
You figured they would have that banked earlier today, and then all they got to do is hit update.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So moving on from the amazing match that will be Kid Cash versus Hernandez, World Heavyweight Championship match. For me, it could go. This is the one where it's kind of really hard to pick because on the one hand, personally, me, I want Bobby Roode to win because I want Roode versus Storm. I mean, just because it just writes itself. But 2 weeks, Sting comes back 2 weeks straight. He's gotten over clean on Roode, not just beating him. Clean wins 2 weeks in a row. Third time's the charm, according to Robin Garvin in the doc. It's the case, but it could just be throwing a swerve at us to have Roode keep going, just to build heat for the match. I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think?
There is absolutely no way that Bobby Roode is losing that title. There is no way. Bobby Roode, he's lost. Sting has beat him twice in a row. That to me, though, every time a face is most times a face has gone into a pay-per-view, they've lost at the pay-per-view. I am not buying that they will lose to Sting like this. If he does, they have wasted such a good opportunity. I honestly think Roode will retain. I don't know how he'll do it. He might do it by interference or whatever, but he will retain.
Okay, Rob.
Yeah, I agree. And when we get to predictions, I'll be changing my prediction on this because of what I saw tonight. I mean, Sting's won twice in a row. To me, that says that Bobby Roode's going to win at the pay-per-view. Clean win? Probably not. He's probably going to cheat somehow. But Bobby Roode will find some way to hold on to the title.
Okay. Here's your curveball. Storm comes back and costs Roode the title. Now you got Sting with the belt. Roode and Storm have a storyline. Lee and I were talking about it in the pre-show. Which you would listen to if you got here early, Rob and the other guys in the chat. Anybody else who decided to show up at 10. Now Sting's got the belt, and he can go up against somebody like Bully Ray or something for the belt. Do you see that happening? Do you see Storm coming back and costing Roode the title?
I could see Storm coming back and accidentally helping Roode hold on to the title by getting Sting disqualified or something.
I can't see him. I can't see him wasting the whole, the promos they've done. They've gone to his home village and come away and whatever. I can't see him wasting that just for an appearance. One 5-second run in. It would be such a waste. I know it's TNA's big 10-year anniversary.
But I think the where they'll be going from that is to build what a lot of TNA fans want to see, which is Bobby Roode versus James Storm for the title.
For the strap.
Yeah, but how do you book it with Bobby Roode winning?
Storm comes out. Storm comes out. Basically lays Bobby Roode out, pulls Sting on top, and says, "I came back to show you not only can I beat you, but I'm going to beat you. I'm going to take this title off of you."
But then you'd have Sting as a champion, and then.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, then he pulls Roode on top of Sting. I mean, the point being is that Storm comes back, makes Roode win, like either Sting wins or Storm lays waste to both of them, and then puts Roode on top and says, "I'm going to come back, and I want to make sure that when I beat you, you got the belt when that happens." And then they book that match. I don't know.
Do you not think that would be a waste, though?
It is a waste. It is a waste. I will give you that one. All right, so predictions. We're just going to run right down the card. First up, Bully Ray versus Joseph Park. Who's going to win in this? Besides the fans, really. It's going to be great. Going in, it's frosting on a cake. It's just good all around. Bully Ray versus Joseph Park. Who's winning what? Lee, who are you taking?
I am going to take a chance and go for Bully Ray.
That's fair. We should just make this a rubber one, not even count it. Yeah, I'll take Bully Ray too, just cause. Rob, you sticking with your pick? You got Bully Ray as well.
No, actually, I'm gonna go with Joseph Park. Abyss.
For kids. Okay. So you're switching to Joseph Park. What is it, the Hudsucker Proxy? Isn't that what that's from?
No, that's Joseph Park's thing that he's been doing. He's
Oh.
like, I'm looking for my brother Chris. Abyss.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, there's this movie called The Hudsucker Proxy where this guy walks around with a napkin with a circle written on it, and he keeps showing it to people going, for kids. And the entire movie he's doing this until the end. You find out what he invented was the hula hoop. It's a really good movie. I ruined a small part of it for you, everybody, but you really should see it. It's called The Hudsucker Proxy. It's this really weird movie. Anyway, Garv, what do you think? I mean, you sticking with Joseph Park, or are you going with Bully Ray?
I am sticking with Joseph Park.
Okay, that's fair. Crimson versus whoever. We're gonna put our predictions down here. I'm probably not gonna count this one because it really depends on who comes back. Let's just skip it because it's way too complicated. Devon and Garrett Bischoff versus Robbie E and Robbie T. Who's winning this one? I'm going with Devon and Garrett just because I can't imagine Robbie E and Robbie T getting a push just yet.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd probably just go with Devon and Garrett.
Yeah, I'm going to change my vote as well. I'm going to go with Devon and Garrett. I think it makes more sense for them to lose, Robbie E and Robbie T, because I'd rather see them split and compete for the TV title versus whatever they're doing.
Rob, you sticking with Devon and Garrett?
I am.
Okay, cool. RVD versus Jeff Hardy versus Mr. Anderson. Whoever wins gets the Impact match against the champ. Here you go. Who's taking who? What do we decide on? I'm taking Old Dog. I'm taking RVD.
Well, this is a hard one. Oh God. I'm going to go out the blue, Mr. Anderson. I know it should be RVD, but I'm going to go Mr. Anderson just because.
Why not?
Just because.
Why the hell not? All right.
Exactly.
Carve, Rob, who are you taking? Hardy, Anderson, D?
I'm taking Anderson.
All right, Rob's taking Anderson because he's the best of the sludge at the bottom of the barrel here. All right, Garvin?
Jeff Hardy.
So you think Jeff Hardy... Okay, now if Jeff Hardy wins, do you think that if he wins the belt on Impact, they bring it back?
No.
Okay.
If they bring that belt back, then...
That's fair. Knockouts Championship, Gail Kim or Brooke Tessmacher? I want to say Kim just because they really threw Tessmacher, like Lee was saying, out of nowhere. So the idea that they would end that streak, it just seems so rickety, I guess.
But at the same point in time, TNA has way too many streaks ongoing.
Yeah, we're going to be discussing that.
I think they have to end one, and I think Gail drew the short straw, so I'm going to go with Tessmacher.
I am actually picturing that backstage.
What? Oh, man.
Yeah.
My streak
Seriously? Damn it. And she's probably the shortest one amongst all of them, too, which is just adds insult to injury. Garvin, Lee, who are you taking?
Brooke.
You're taking Brooke, Garv?
Yes.
All right.
I'm tempted to take Tessmacher just because they kind of... Gail Kim was saying, I'm going to beat her, it's going to be easy, but I'm going to take Kim. I've got to take Kim.
Fair enough. X Division Championship, if this happens, Samoa Joe versus Austin Aries. It's got to be Aries. I can't imagine they put the belt on Joe. I mean, that'd just be silly.
It's got to be Aries.
Yeah, A double.
Garvin?
I'm going to go with Samoa Joe.
You've got to be joking.
Is it non-title, though? Because, look, you can't look at the website and think it's, reasonable in any capacity. But, all right, I'll take Joe. Ooh, you know what? I should check. I think I have him in my draft lineup, actually. I should know.
does.
Oh, Joe does?
Yes.
Who do I have? I should probably know that so I can pick the right people.
You have Winter. Congratulations.
Yeah, shut up. Well, because Winter did so well for me last time that I figured why not pick her again.
It's worked very well this time. Yeah,
she hasn't even been on TV at all. All right, Daniels and Kazarian versus AJ Styles and Kurt Angle. I'm taking Daniels and Kazarian for the tag titles. Rob, you sticking with AJ and Kurt, or are you switching?
Yeah, I'm going to go with AJ and Kurt. Yeah, so.
Fine. Lee?
Daniels and Kazarian.
All right, at least. All right. And Garv, you sticking with Daniels and Kaz?
I am. I don't want to see this to become a hot potato thing.
No, that's fair. Kid Cash versus Hernandez in the really what the hell open match. I guess Hernandez, just because I could use 1,000 monkeys and 1,000 typewriters couldn't come up with a better reason. Then I have no idea.
Hernandez is much more talented than Kid Cash is.
Okay, that's a good one. Thank you.
No problem.
But when I think Hernandez, I think he's just been so typecast, and I'm so tired of him. I don't know. Lee, what do you think?
Yeah, it's got to be Hernandez, surely.
Lee, Garvin, taking Kid Cash?
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at Kid Cash, he is like the strong wrestler in every single match. There's no way he can pick up Hernandez like he does the X Division wrestlers. You got to go with Hernandez.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
Exactly. Just don't care.
I really don't think anybody does. World Heavyweight Championship. Here we are. Bobby Roode versus Sting. I'm going with Roode. This is the one. I know we don't really want to vote with our heart, but I really want Roode to retain. What do you guys think?
Roode.
Ooh. Switching. You gonna switch, Garf?
No, I'm gonna go with Sting.
Okay. Lee, you sticking with me and Roode, or are you going with Sting?
Yeah, definitely Roode.
Okay, cool. All right, so that's our predictions locked in. Sadly, none of the people from the draft are from my team are on at all. So fun. For me. Let's just move on. Rob brought this up, and I do want to bring it up. Going into Slammiversary, we got 4 streaks. We got Aries being the longest reigning X Division champion, Gale being the longest reigning Knockouts champion, Crimson being undefeated for 468 days, and Roode being the longest reigning World Heavyweight champion. One's got to go. Do you think one's got to go? And if so, which one? Real quick, though, because we're running out of time. Rob.
Yes, I think at least one has to go, and the easiest one to get rid of at the moment right now is the women's title. So, sorry, Gail Kim.
Okay, Lee, which one?
Completely agree. Gail Kim is very much the easy one to get rid of because there's been no build, there's been no hype, and it's just been announced today.
Yeah, but you picked a Gale to win.
I know I did, but it's the easiest one to get rid of in the streak.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Out of all of them.
Okay. All right, Garv.
Yeah, Gale losing would be the easiest. Now, another name that we should have thrown out in this Crimson thing is Eric Young.
Oh.
And I could see him breaking the streak.
EY, my boy EY, hell yeah,
against
Team Bigger.
Crimson.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd get a lot of points for that one, wouldn't I? Who has Crimson? Oh, who cares? Anyway, yeah. Okay, there we go. I'm going with Garvin's scenario. Crimson loses to EY only because I'm putting it out in the universe, like The Secret, and I want EY to win because I really need the points. I really need the points. Okay. TNA announces a Hall of Fame with the first inductee in Slammiversary. I think Lee and I think you and I got into it on Twitter with this one too, that TNA kind of shot themselves in the foot because AJ is the clear candidate, but with the storyline he's in, how do you do that? Who do you think is going to be the first inductee? Rob.
Out of retired wrestlers, like I said, I think either we're going to see Sting retire, and he'll be in, or TNA is going to do something like put in Savage or somebody just to spite the WWE.
Okay. Lee.
If they put in Savage, it would be so political. There would be so much discussion. I actually think it's going to be. Thinking about it, probably Jeff Jarrett, just because he started the company up. That's the only. That's reason.
What I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree with you, and honestly, I'm going to disagree with Rob here, and we'll get into it probably on Tuesday when it happens. But I think it's a solid pick. Jeff Jarrett started the company; there wouldn't be TNA without him. It's like when Vince nominated his dad. Exact same scenario.
And the live chat's saying the same thing, but I don't understand why every time we have this conversation, no one ever says Ken Shamrock.
Because you think, because the only thing you can bring up is that the first TNA champion.
And that's important. It's not like a thing you just, put under the rug.
In 2012, it's not important to TNA.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, the first Super Bowl winner was the Green Bay Packers. It doesn't really, well, now it matters because they're a good team. But 10 years ago, it didn't, who gave a shit? Because, I mean, it was like, big deal. Yeah, that's the only thing you can say is Ken Shamrock was the first champion. That's it. But anyway, botchspot.com had a comic about it, which is just awesome. They said 3 reasons why they're doing it. 1, so they don't have to use Hall of Fame rings from other promotions in their storylines. 2, so they can get even more celebrity involvement. And 3, so they can induct Randy Savage before WWE does. And likely, I worry because that is such a political choice. All right, so that's it. That is it for the show. Garvin's got a quick announcement. Take it away, Garv.
Okay, I can announce this. Everyone in the live chat, I've already posted it, but just to reiterate, we announced this on Twitter, actually, I would like to say about an hour ago. We're going to be taking your predictions. Everyone in the live chat right now, and I guess because you're going to be listening to this later on this week, you can do this as well, but you have 9 matches and a Hall of Fame pick. Anyone who gets them all correct will be in the running for a free FTW t-shirt. You can email your predictions to questions@ftwpodcast.com. You have until Sunday afternoon.
Before the pay-per-view.
Before the pay-per-view.
Yeah, we got to make sure to put that caveat in
we'll
there.
We'll have all the matches listed on the site. You can find full rules there as well a little bit later on this week.
Yeah. So definitely check it out and get your predictions in. See if you can get it designed by the sexiest man alive. Who made those? Okay, I'll stop. Anyway, so that's it. That's our show. Lee, thank you very much for coming on. If people want to get a hold of you, what is the best way to do that?
Best way to do that is probably WrestlingNewsSource.com or on Twitter, WNSource, or on Facebook, www.facebook.com/WrestlingNewsSource.
And if you get into it with him, once again, because he's British, he's very, very genial about everything. He doesn't, call you out names or anything like that. He's very proper, and I gotta be honest, you made me feel so good when you were basically calling me an idiot. You did it in such a classy way that I didn't even feel bad. So thank you for that. So definitely follow him, because for that reason alone, you'll be like, wow, he's got a really good point, and I feel like an idiot, but damn it all if it wasn't charming. And that's the show. As you can tell, we're just a group of friends that do this in our spare time. We don't charge for this like some do, but we do work really hard at making sure that we put out some quality entertainment for you. We're not asking you to send us money, but if you want to, you can stop by our website and buy a t-shirt. You can visit it, or you can see it at ftwpodcast.com. Click the merch link at the top. Take a look at all the shirts available, and even if you got an idea for a shirt, let us know. We'll see if we can make it happen. Otherwise, if you don't have the cash but you want to show our support, you can rate us on iTunes to help us improve our rank in their system. The higher up we get, the better chance we get more listeners, and that they won't be total cheapskates and buy us to buy a shirt from us. You can tell your friends. And spread the word about us. We're incredibly easy to find, and you can find us at ftwpodcast.com, facebook.com/ftwpodcast, twitter.com/ftwpodcast, youtube.com/the FTW Podcast, and you can let your voices be heard by leaving us a voicemail at 313-444-FTW4. That's 313-444-3894. You can also email questions to questions@ftwpodcast.com. Thank you, Hive Mind, in the live chat. You guys are once again awesome, as you are every week. We record every FTW Podcast episode on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. at ftwlive.com. Thank you very much for joining us for our Slammiversary Prediction Impact Reaction Show for 2012. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Later, players!